What's going on? What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of the Atlanta Hawks Fly Through, part of the What the Game Means to Me podcast. Today, of course, got my guys with me, the Hoopers Pod, Fresh and John. How you guys doing today?
Good, man. What's going on, man? What's up, man?
Yeah, it was. We just said it before we got on, but we about due for another one of these. They 20 games in. I think last time we did one, they had just hit the 7th mark. So definitely glad I could have you guys on again tonight with me. Talk a little bit of Hawks basketball and then just the NBA scope as a whole. But first things first, before we even get into the Hawks and everything that they've gone through these first 20 games of the year, we got to hit on last night. The King was in town. It was the first day, as we said, of Black History Month. First day, State Farm Arena now has let in fans, and we went off with a bang. We started off with a bang this first day of the Black History Month, and we had us one at State Farm Arena last night. So of course I got to play the video. I'm pretty sure most people already know what went down, but LeBron James got into it with the quote unquote. We've named her Courtside Karen. I think Twitter and everybody on social media is pretty much come to the conclusion that's the best name for her at the moment. So I guess while we're watching this, just initial thoughts and reactions when y'all saw it. I didn't see it live. I had to see it. ESPN sent me a notification. Bleacher Report sent me a notification. I just get notifications from everywhere. So I guess just the initial reactions that y'all thought when y'all first, seen her talking.
My first reaction was, I can't believe that they're letting fans sit courtside. That's kind of close.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you see it, you can see her pointing and everything. I'm like, oh, she clearly is upset about something. Mm-hmm. So it was just funny. I thought of the meme with the lady and the cat.
And the sportscaster said it too. It's crazy. He was quick with it.
Oh, that's what he said? Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was like, she reminds me of that lady that be pointing at the cat. Like I said, it was like she checks the vibe marks or whatever.
I was shocked they were courtside, though. I didn't know we were letting them sit that close.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. When I saw it too, when I saw the notification, it was like fan gets it or LeBron gets it with a courtside fan. I was like, courtside? Like I thought they would be like at least 10 rows back, something like that, like to be that close. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. So, yeah, for me, I was mad about the after part. I don't know if y'all seen, some of it or not, like what she was saying like on Twitter and all that, but she was really acting like, LeBron and LeBron and the guys was really like stunting her and her husband. Like she made up all this crazy stuff. Like, he said, called her a B word, told her to sit, her A down. And it was like going back and forth. Like they was having a real fight conversation. Like, and I'm looking like LeBron ain't even really talking to her. Like he really just in the middle of the court, like, kind of mumbling stuff to himself and like the players around her, but he ain't really saying much to her. So I don't know where she got this, story of hers from. But
and I saw after the game, LeBron said he didn't even think, they said enough to get thrown out the game. So clearly she was like super mad, and he wasn't bothered.
Yeah, she. I guess that was just the. I think Steven said it in the chat. He was like, this man, I guess I don't know if he's hated LeBron since 2017 or been trying to get tickets courtside since 2017. Say something to him. Yeah, so it was just I guess the moment of time they probably talked about it before, like, hey, we finna go in here. If LeBron even come close to even whispers one thing close to us, we're gonna go off and say something. She talking about she defending her husband or whatever the case may be. It just foolishness to me. But the other thing that was funny, I don't know if y'all seen it or not, but social media was going in on her age. She kept, how she said she was 25. Yeah. I was like, there's no way she 40. Like while I'm like, because my girlfriend actually showed me the video when I got home of her talking and stuff. I said, she like 40. And she going, and then like literally right after she said 25, I was like, no, hell no, she's lying. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. Like I said, just another fan. We've seen this time and time again and before, but I guess it's the first one I guess we've seen this year. Being that most teams aren't letting fans in, and for it to happen on the first night that State Farm list theirs in unfortunate. It wasn't the way I was trying to wake up and see my Hawks in the news. But I guess it is what it is. But to move on from her, and I forgot. Yeah, we both just said the little cat meme. People be so creative and quick.
Right, that should be the face of the background.
Exactly. So creative and quick. But I guess to talk a little bit about the game last night, in the actual game, what went on, between the lines and everything. What was your guys' initial reaction, and how did you guys think the guys fared against the defending champs last night?
Man, I want to say I started when game first came on. It came out real sloppy. Like Trey was throwing just the worst passes ever. He wasn't. Of course, he was trying his foul baiting, and they weren't giving him the foul. So it's a lot of turnovers, bad shots. They eventually got into it. How offenses work. You hit a couple shots, you get some layups, you get into the game. Then in the fourth quarter, they just imploded for whatever reason. They just couldn't get a stop first and foremost. Yeah. And then when you can't get a stop and you can't make a shot, which is how we've kind of figured the season will go this year. Mm-hmm. He should have got Rondo some more minutes. I think that would have helped a lot. Yeah. Like just keep the offense flowing, a good defensive play. He could have had Rondo and Trey out there. I just think let him go on a 16-0 run, and
exactly.
That killed them. That killed anything they could have tried.
Yeah, and I agree with your point, like with the sloppy passes and everything early. And to your point, you say high turnovers. I think Trey finished with like 7 turnovers. He had 10 assists last night. So I mean, that's a good number.
2-1,
right? But we've seen the Hawks this season. They kind of get up for the really good team. So maybe early in the game, just kind of trying too much to establish themselves in the game. And then, like you said, I agree with playing Rondo more down the stretch. Let him add that veteran leadership to kind of help you get a bucket, even if it's not him. Maybe directing somebody to get it or whatever. Like you said, that 16-0 run. I mean, that'll kill anybody. But that definitely put it away. I agree, Rondo. I would like to see Rondo a little more in the fourth quarter, but just being able to get a stop in, I guess, without DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter was.
And you say the Hawks need a bucket. Trey, as we all know, is a bucket, but he is undersized. So that kind of shows maybe a glaring issue that the Hawks maybe need to address when you need to get a point, having somebody else to be able to throw the ball to or whatever. Yeah. Especially thing like Dre Hunter was getting into that, but without him right now, you're missing that area. So
he definitely would have proved big for us last night. We're definitely going to talk a little bit more about DeAndre Hunter and his knee issues later. But yeah, for me, I really caught more so like third quarter and fourth quarter, like you said, that 16-0 run pretty much killed us and destroyed us. But the thing I liked, I guess down the stretch, how they fought back, because when the Lakers got up 10, I think it was 96-86, something like that. Yeah. That's when I thought the game was done. It was still 3-4 minutes left, but I was like, yeah, it's over with, because I think LeBron had, I think he made like a timely bucket, then got fouled, went to the free throw line. I think it was right after we got the tech. Somebody got the tech. I think Trey or somebody got the tech. They made the technical free throw shot, and then they got the ball and they ended up going up 10. But they fought back hard. I think cut it within 1. I think it was 98-97.
Yeah. Threw another bad pass.
Yeah. Yeah. And pretty much from there, like you just said, down the stretch, it was just turnovers, because I think they tried to inbound the ball, and then made a bad pass, like you said, got stolen. Yeah. And then I think it was outlet to LeBron. He made the lay. Yep. And then, pretty much they just closed out the game from there. Yep. So, like you said, I think playing Rondo a little bit down the stretch would have definitely, because you might have took the ball out of Trey's hand. It would have limited some of the turnovers. And then also, I guess just like obviously he just came from that team, like maybe, just being in that situation, knowing what play they may run down the stretch, like what they're trying to do, to close out the game, whatever the case may be. So having Rondo in at that moment probably would have done them a little bit better. But like you guys said, they do get up for the big games, which is great to see. But I guess it's just that last part, having to learn how to finish the games, that they definitely got to work on as the season progresses. So I guess moving on, of course, like I said, we've gone through our first 20 games of the year. So I got an old graphic, obviously, with the last game last night. They got a loss, so we're at 500 at 10-10. But we're still 6th in the East. So I guess looking at this graphic, is other teams obviously that have moved around a little bit, but looking at this graphic, is this where you kind of expected after 20 games for this team to be, pretty much at 500, 6 in the East, or did you expect a little bit better record or a little bit worse?
Right. I would say I expected them to be a little bit better, but they're in the range, with pretty much everyone else. It's been kind of a weird season where the top teams like the Lakers, Utah, Clippers have pulled away, but everyone else is like playing around 500. Other than, you got Philly, but even like the Nets went on a little streak, but they were playing around 500 for a while. So the Hawks for me are about where I expected them, 6 seed in the playoffs. I don't think they're fighting to be in the playoffs. I think they're fighting to, maybe get a higher seed. I think we all are pretty confident that they're gonna make the playoffs. So, I like where they are. Like say 10 and 10, 500, and I think they're a little bit better than 500. So I think they can reel off a couple of wins going forward, though.
Right, definitely. Yeah, they definitely would kind of where I thought they would be at, like that 5th, 6th, 7th range.
Right.
Like they've been up. They've been like one of those teams that's been real up and down. When they get hot, they're hot, but then you might lose a couple. So that kind of explains the 10 and 10 record, because I do believe they're better than a 10 and 10 record.
Yeah. Right.
But at the same time, this is such a weird season too. Again, with it being a shorter season, that 10 and 10 record could realistically be close to a 15 and 10 record in a normal season, and especially then you throw still with a lot of injuries, Bogdan being out, DeAndre Hunter, Chris Dunn still hasn't played a game, our Ricky still hasn't played yet. So I think injuries aside, they're about where they should be at 10 and 10, 6th place.
Yeah, I think it's pretty, like you said, like both you guys were saying. I think 10 and 10 is kind of where I didn't know if I expect them to be there, but it's a solid start for you just said, the crazy season that we're having. We've been, I don't know, well, I think besides a few other teams have been dealing with COVID and injured players, but I think we have to be one of the top teams that have been just decimated by injuries, because Gallo missed a bunch of time, like you said. Right. Big O just started playing, maybe been at least probably 2-3 games in. Chris Dunn hasn't played a game. Rondo has been hurt a little bit, but also of course just sitting out veteran rest days, whatever the case may be. Clint's been a little banged up, even though he's toughed it out and played most of the games. And we just talked about DeAndre Hunter, like we're going to talk about DeAndre Hunter's knee. Still has to get examined to see if there's a little bit more structural damage. But it's like every and then Bogdan. Well, how can I forget? One of our 2 big signings this year. So for what's going on, so many injuries, I feel like 10 games is solid. And then also they did go on a little bit of a slide. They lost, I think the last time we talked, we was telling them, they can't lose those 2 Hornet games back to back. They lost both those games.
But they beat Philly after.
Exactly. Then they beat, thanks to everybody being out. They had to play near their G League guys. But they lost game like those games, and then took a little bit of slide and hit. I think on the road they've lost to Milwaukee. They lost to the Trailblazers. They weren't able to close that one out. They lost to Utah. They weren't able to really hang around in that game as well. So it's been a lot of good teams that they've lost to and at shorthand. So I kind of, like you guys are saying, I kind of expect them to be kind of where they are, and as we get healthy, and hopefully continue to build some type of chemistry. Another thing is too, they haven't really been able to practice. I keep hearing coaches and players and media guys just saying like they really haven't had time to practice. Like I forgot when it was, maybe a week or 2 ago, but the last time they really got to practice, I think was when their game got canceled at in Phoenix when they were supposed to play. Yeah, so it's unfortunate, but I guess like I said, with the weird COVID season and everything that's going on, especially with this team, mainly us being with injuries, I think 10 and 10 is solid. 6 seed right now is solid, and definitely can continue to. Looking to move up, honestly, like you're saying, a lot of these teams are playing around 500. Like you said, we're at 10 and 10 right now. We're literally 2-3 games out of the three seeds. So, as long as we continue to get, like I said, continue to trend in the right direction, everybody's getting healthy. They're playing pretty good ball. But like we said with the Lakers game, it's got to clean up a few things, learn how to finish, clean up the turnovers, the bad passes, and everything. And they should continue to move in the right direction, at least. But that's for me sharing the screen. I guess not real quick, but I guess moving on before we go on to like the player progress report, I kind of want to ask you about some guys to see where you think they are at in this season. But what has been your favorite, I guess, Hawks game to watch so far, and what game do you think they've played the most complete game? If you can pinpoint one.
Favorite game? There's been a couple good ones lately. That 40 ball by Trey against Minnesota. I think that was the best Trey had played all year, honestly.
Right.
The Clint Capella triple-double, that was a pretty good one. Because I think Trey had 35 that game as well.
Yeah, sound about right. Yeah.
The 26-23 game from Clint Capella. I think though my favorite game probably been that Minnesota, the 40 ball by Trey, because he was able, he played at his best. He wasn't forcing shots. He kept his teammates involved, which you haven't heard about lately. But he played as good as he could play. Honestly, that game.
I think that was a good one there. I like the Clipper win. I think Trey had like 38 that game. Their most complete win for me still is the second Brooklyn, because they played Brooklyn 3 times this year. They lost the first one, triple overtime. They just lost, I think, a week ago in overtime. But the second game, I think they came in like with a plan and like really executed it. They figured that they were confident that they could beat them. So that's the most complete I've seen. But I've seen a lot of completeness through them throughout the year. Honestly, it's just a matter of people staying healthy and keeping everybody in. Like I said, the Minnesota game was a good win. Both of the Minnesota games, actually, they played well in both of those games. And to what we were saying about some of the losses that they had picked up recently, though, I would say if you want to take a good thing out of the losses, at least the teams are like contending teams. You're losing to Utah, Milwaukee.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
I mean, they didn't want to lose, but that Milwaukee loss wasn't a bad loss.
Yeah, because they was without Trey and Clint, weren't they?
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
you fix some stuff here and there, and that might, you probably like Trey plays that game, they probably win that game.
Right. Yeah. So the second Brooklyn game following the triple overtime is still my favorite game to watch and the most complete game I think that I've seen.
Yeah. I think for me, I don't know. I'm trying to think if I should say go the more complete route or my favorite game. I think it was looking like it was going to possibly be a bad loss, but the Detroit win where they were able to pull it out, I believe, in overtime. They said they weren't looking too hot, but I think was it third? It was either third or beginning of the fourth quarter. I think Kevin Huerter kind of turned it around. I think he had like 2 or 3 clutch buckets. And then kind of, like I said, rallied that comeback. Trey had 38, Clint had 20. That was a 27 and 26 game by Clint. Ridiculous, 26 boards. And then I think John had a double-double as well, like 31 and 11. So it was just overall a little comeback, nice win. Even though it wasn't looking, like I said, too hot, too good in the beginning. Right. So that's the one I think I like to have seen, or I guess my most complete game, just because they were able to put it together late, and typically we see that they haven't been able to close out games, especially earlier on in the year. The last episode we actually talked about it with the Knicks and with the Cavs. Right. So I think I like that one the most. But I guess really honestly my favorite game to watch, and I kind of want to, it's about to lead me to a question that I saw in the group message. One of my favorite ones, I think the Nets lost the third one. I really enjoyed seeing them compete the way they did against, the new 3-headed monster of the East with all the guys playing. Like I said, unfortunately they weren't able to pull it out in overtime. Nets got up on they pretty much came out overtime, pretty much got up big early, and then we weren't able to recover. But I want to ask you guys, I did see a few people rumbling about it in group messages as well. But at the end of that game, or at the end of the fourth, and I think at the end of overtime or the whole overtime, Clint Capella didn't play at all. And a lot of people were, pretty upset or confused. Like, why would we not play Clint? Like, why would we play to their strengths? Because, they had a small ball lineup in with Jeff Green being their 5. Why would we play to their strengths? We needed somebody in there to rebound and, to affect the shots at the basket and stuff like that. So kind of what did you guys think of that I guess that move by Coach Lloyd Pierce to pretty much not play Clint the rest of the time. And I think he also came out and said that Clint let him know that he was pretty much gassed. He had been, pretty much up and down that entire game, and they were coming off, I believe, a back-to-back as well. So, what do you guys think of Clint Capella not being in? I guess at the end of that game, and I guess in stretches, like I guess in important games at the end of games, throughout the season.
I think it would be time for him to play, but especially against Brooklyn, you could use him out there. But I can understand why you may go with a smaller ball lineup because even though that's their strength, I would say it's a strength of ours also because we have some versatile players that could play against that kind of lineup. But Clint could definitely have helped. But us and when the Hawks play Brooklyn, there's no defense really anyway. So I think you want to be as offensively potent as you could be. So I can see why you go through that. And then him being gassed, like you say, he's toughed out playing through some injuries anyway. So if you can sneak him some time out and pull out a win, why not? I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that point, about being able to go small because we're also versatile. And I think that's why they made a lot of those free agent signings this year because you want to be able to play those lineups with John at the 5 and Dino at the 4 and, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, or Cam and Kevin Hoyter, however you want to run it. And, you can do that against anybody, which like I said, Clint Capella being gas because Brooklyn does get the ball and regardless, James Harden, Kyrie, Kevin Durant, KD, or even Joe Harris, they're looking to push the ball at all times. So even if you can get some, you have Capella out there for rebound and shot blocking, how often is he even going to be able to protect the rim with the Nets, getting the ball and pushing it up court?
Yeah.
You lose the game. So, of course, it's like, well, he should have been out there. But it's like, to their strategy, it wouldn't have worked regardless, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of the same thing I was saying, too. I was just like, what's the point of now that I knew his gas, like what's the point of him even being out there, if he's gas, he's not going to be any type of help to you. And obviously a lot of people that I was saying that there was like, like I said, don't play to Brooklyn strengths, which was obviously they had a small ball lineup. So they was trying to switch everything that was coming off the screens, going one-on-one, stuff like that. Clint wasn't really going to be able to keep up with any of the guys out there, even if he like was matched up on, Jeff Green. So, I totally understood, not having him in, and like you just said, like that's why we had those certain signings. We got certain guys on the roster that one can be able to switch. They're versatile, and they can give you that defense and that offensive skill set. So I personally agree. I think but in that game, I think I remember they really they got up early because I think they just, like you say, in transition. I think they had like in overtime they had like 2 or 3 quick layups, and then they was really picking on Trey, especially towards the end of the fourth and in the fourth or in overtime. They pretty much just going at him. They were trying to find him, switch off, and I think Harden got a big bucket off of him, or 2 big buckets. And I think Katie won as well. So, like I said, I just wanted to ask that because I thought about it, but I definitely agree with you guys as well. But next thing I wanted to kind of hit on was player progress reports for the year. I know in the earlier episodes, we talked about a few guys and kind of where the progression is, and this is one thing I kind of want to do with these episodes each time we meet. So, I guess the first guy I want to talk about is Trey, and I actually kind of want to backtrack because I don't know if we hit on it that much or if it was right after we had finished the second episode. But of course, the little bit of rumblings between John Collins and Trey Young. Of course, John went a little bit more flow of the offense versus Trey just pounding the ball, keeping it in his hand, and then, pretty much making a play. So from that, we kind of did see him have a slump. I think the next game he only shot the ball like somewhere between like 6 and 8 times, maybe. And then, we're just now seeing him kind of find his stride again. So I guess the first guy, first, I guess we can talk about that. Do you think that also kind of had an effect on a little bit of their slide of them losing certain games to where now they say they're 10-10? And I guess just your progress report on Trey Young and how you feel like he's been progressing throughout the season.
Yeah, I think initially, like you said, they were. I don't want to say it affected their play. They were already going through a little slide, and like you said, it was early season growing pains for a young team or whatever. But I don't think it affected them too much, honestly, because I don't think it was that big of a deal. Just a conversation about why they're losing or whatever. But Trey, overall, his for me, he's an all star again. I think he's about 27 a game, 26.
27.
Yeah, 27-9. So I think he's definitely a lot to be an all star. I think with Trey is like, you just got the games like last night. You want him to take calculated passes, get his turnovers down, and still just even though he does average 9 assists and he's gotten better at it this year. I've said that a couple of times. Just continuing to get his teammates involved in different ways. I think he has more scoring around him now than he possibly has ever had. So it's just making more not even just necessarily more assists, but just
Swinging the ball.
Yeah, swinging the ball, putting people in their positions for them to be able to score, especially like somebody like DeAndre Hunter, who I think was starting to take a step up before he got hurt or whatever. So, but Trey's playing well, all-star again, so you got to give him an 8 so far.
I don't think, like say, they was already kind of sliding a bit, but I do think it kind of went into all the rumblings and the John versus Trey or whatever it was supposed to be. I think it affected the offense a little bit because the offense did start getting stagnant in some of the games where it was we trying to do I move the ball, do I go ISO,
right?
Do I try to get DeAndre Hunter and John Collins involved? How do I play with John and Clint Capella? And I think they just trying to figure it out, growing as a young team. It kind of got in their heads a little bit, and they was overthinking it. Lloyd Pierce included, who just couldn't. He was trying to figure out the best way to play offense because you do have a lot of pieces that need the ball, but you got pieces who where they don't need the ball, they need to be involved with they need to be involved with the offense. Clint Capella doesn't need it, but he still needs to be involved with the offense just a little bit. Just to change some stuff up. Like I say, Trey has been an all-star this year with Kyrie back and James Harden in the East. I don't know if he's going to be a starter, but he definitely has a spot on the team.
Right.
I give him an A- because he's had some bad turnover games. I mean, you don't expect it, but I think his defensive effort has been worse this year than it was last year. Like, it was like some games he doesn't even try some games. Like, he's just kind of on that side of the court and whatever's whatever. Yeah. Like, even when they go to a zone, he does it. He's just still kind of just standing there, not really giving any effort. So, you cut down some of those bad turnover games, give 10% more on defense, he probably get to an A+. But right now I give him an A- because, like I say, 27-9. How can I, it's 27-9. You don't go against that.
Yeah. It's almost close to a double average, like you said. Probably one of the higher scoring averages in the league right now. So yeah, me as well. I'm kind of on that A- train as well for everything you just said, John. So I guess not to be too repetitive, but like you said, there are guys that do need to be involved in the offense. We do got guys that have shown, even with the emergence of DeAndre Hunter. Cam Reddish has had some decent games the last few games as well. And John, of course, can get active around the rim along with Clint. There's guys that, you have to involve in the offense to just make it easier on him, Trae Young, in general. Like you said, the pick and roll is honestly like their bread and butter. Like that it works pretty much, almost to perfection each and every time. No matter if they're using Clint or if they're using John. So just being able to involve the other guys in the offense just to make it easier on yourself. I think that's pretty much all John probably was trying to say. And like you said, Fresh, is just honestly a conversation. I think the media and outside people just blew it up a little bit more than what it was supposed to be. So you know how it is, or we know how it is. You read headlines and people just running off with it. So it's and then from there we see, John Collins gonna get traded. John Collins is out, all this and that. But I think these guys are cool. They're tight. It was just a simple, we can help you too, Trey. Like, you don't have to do it all yourself. Yeah. So simple basketball things that people that actually have played the sport know what it is. Words can be get misconstrued, but I think they're all good, and everything's gonna be
back since then. Like Capella's done had some 20-20 games, exactly. 30-10 games, so they bounced back from that definitely.
Yep, exactly. So next guy I kind of wanted to hit on was DeAndre Hunter, and ask you guys as well. Do you think he is, or if he hasn't already, do you think he will soon solidify, I guess, that number 2 scoring role, that that number 2 go-to guy that we go to get a bucket?
I think so. As far as it's grading his performance, going got that way. I give him an A, like a solid A, because he's been good defensively and offensively. He's honestly been better offensively than I thought he would be, especially off the dribble, off the bounce, with a lot of the creating with the ball in his hand. I still think he's going to at least be second team all defensive, not first team. I don't see, especially on the wing outside of Kawhi, who's really stopping him from being first team all defense outside of Cam Reddish, his teammate. They're probably get some votes. But DeAndre Hunter definitely has a skill set, and with Trey being so small, being a smaller guard, you need a big wing player who can get his own bucket. Just so you got an automatic person to throw the ball to on the perimeter when they, a hard double team or trap is coming at you. So DeAndre Hunter is definitely going to solidify himself as if nothing else, our second perimeter guy. Because you still got John Collins, who I think is the second player, but it's hard to throw the ball down to the post with a smaller guard sometimes.
Right.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I think he was starting to establish that. I think he's the guy that needs to get more involved. They can get him more shots and just easier buckets because he was starting to really find his game offensively. I think, like you say, he was starting to create more for himself, not just like catching, slashing, or catching shoots. He was putting putting the ball down and making moves and really going to get some buckets. Yeah. So that was definitely good to see. And then defensively, he's been great from the start. So I think he's the second best player on the team. So I like John Collins, and I think John is an all-star type player. But I think the most potential is in DeAndre. If DeAndre can become what his potential is, that's the best for the Hawks because those type of players can help win championships for sure. So
exactly.
We can get him to 20, 21 points per game because he's about 17. So you give him in the 20 range, now we're talking a whole nother game. So for sure. So I give him an A so far during this season. Also, I don't think he was playing all-star level yet, but he was showing some most improved player type potential. You really look at his numbers, and then if you think about him defensively. Because last year, as a rookie, I don't know his numbers, but I'm pretty sure he was at like 10 to 11 points per game. So just even from that, to go from that to 17 is a big jump. That's a bump in the NBA in 1 year. So I think, hopefully he comes back healthy and keeps pushing for sure.
Yeah. Before I guess I get into my grade from Kawhi 2.0 or what we thinking?
That's what it seems like he's becoming. As he like even the offensive moves that he's adding first are like what Kawhi put in his game first, but he's doing it quicker. And you can say he got more opportunity because Kawhi was on the Spurs, and they weren't worried about him offensively for a while. If you really think about it, Kawhi's been, he's so consistent over 25 now. You think he's been doing it his whole career, but he's been doing it for like 3 or 4 years. So it seems like Hunter's already getting to that. But Kawhi's a really great player, so he got a long way to go to get to Kawhi. But if you think about the potential offensively and defensively, I think Kawhi is the trajectory, honestly.
Yeah.
No, yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I don't got anything to add to that.
Right. He looks like Kawhi on the court a lot.
Yes, so. I was about to say that as well.
Not as quick, but he seems like he's a little more athletic than Kawhi.
No, yeah, definitely. So, I get that part.
And then Kawhi is Kawhi defensively. Can you compare anything? But if you want to try, DeAndre Hunter is a pretty good defender. He's a really, really good defender.
Exactly. Yeah. And real quick shout out. Appreciate you, Coach Rogers. Appreciate you for coaching. He's my cornerback coach when I was in high school playing. So appreciate you just in general for watching, and couldn't do it without guys like Fresh and John as well to help me out. But for DeAndre Hunter, I think A as well. He was doing so good. I had to pick him up in our little off the ball fantasy league. I was like, who can I pick up real quick? And DeAndre was just sitting there. I was like, oh yeah, let me go ahead and get him. Threw him in the lineup. He's been pretty good for me so far. So
surprised he was there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, in this little off the ball league, I think some of us don't really be paying attention like that. I honestly didn't, because that's why I lost like the first 4 games. And I was like, hold on, I can't be going out like this. I look like a real scrub right now. It is my first year actually doing fantasy basketball, but I done rolled off 2 wins, so we're looking to make it third this week against Coach Fall. But
Okay.
yeah, with DeAndre, I think A as well. Like I said, we're gonna talk about a little bit later with the All-Star, yes or no's. But yeah, he's like you said, he's at 17 points per game right now. Was it about 4 defensive rebounds, 5 I guess total, or yeah, about 5-6 total rebounds. 2-point percentage has shot up tremendously, about at 61% from 45 last year. 3-point percentage I think is at 37 from 35. So like you said, he's definitely in that most improved candidate, that running for the candidate most improved. But yeah, I think yeah, like you said, he kind of just feels and looks like Kawhi to me as well. He's shown a little bit more personality than he did last year, and then he did at Virginia. But like you just, it kind of just feels like that. You know, 6'8", close to 6'9", just long, athletic, pretty much showing his will as well. He like literally every time I see him getting the ball, especially if it's like coming off a high screen, he puts his head down, goes straight to the basket. Like no one's gonna stop him. So I really like to see that from him, for sure. And like I said, defensively, he's showing he can lock up, he can switch off, he can be pretty much on anybody 1 to 4. So I really like his progression and everything he's been doing this year as well. So I think for myself, and for helping me, elevate a little bit in the off the ball league, fantasy league, I'm gonna give him an A for sure for this one. Next, I want to move on to John Collins, of course. Kind of was already expecting big things coming into the year. What do you guys think he's produced so far on the court?
Honestly, I give him a B plus because I feel like he hasn't really elevated as much, from last year. But he's had some big games here and there, but it's still kind of those same, 19-10, 21-8, the 22-9. He could be a little better rim protecting. His jump shot has been falling down from everywhere this year. I will give him credit for that. It kind of almost made me give him an A because offensively, he's been great offensively. It's just not the explosive nights that you would expect from him, especially though you have a player in Trae Young who's going to take up so much offensive attention.
Yeah, I agree with the B plus. I think he is having a good season. I thought he would take maybe a slightly more stronger step towards the All-Star. I don't really think he's there yet. But also acknowledge that they added so many more offensive weapons. People's numbers are going to fall a little bit. I mean, even Trey's number are down. I mean, he averaged almost 30 last year, so they're down slightly this year. With the emergence of Hunter, and then you add Bogdanovich before he got hurt, and all these other offensive weapons hurt her. Gallinari a few games there, but I think there's still another step for John to take. That's the only reason why I'm giving him a B plus. A B also, just like John just did. But I think he's playing well though. Little slump after the media issue with Trae, but he's doing fine.
Yeah. I'll give him somewhere in that B plus. I guess I'll give him because he has shown up in the games, that they're missing a few guys, like the game that Clinton traded and played. Him and DeAndre both stepped up and played pretty big. The game that we talked about earlier with Detroit, like I said, he had 31 and 11 when they was pretty short-handed at the wing spots. I think DeAndre and Cam didn't play that game. So he has stepped up in games where he's needed to be able to step up, have that offensive presence and, put points on the board. But still a little lackluster sometimes on the defensive end. He does try, but sometimes I think we said it earlier, like he's just kind of there, but he does, put in enough. He tries to put in effort. That's all, I guess all you can really ask for.
A little bit.
Yeah. Sure. Like I said, and we already know, like, he's kind of the upbeat guy, the vocal guy. He's always dapping people up and making sure everybody's, in the right head, in the right mind space. So got it for team captain type of vibes. You got to give him a little bit of a boost as well. So I think he is playing well. I don't think obviously to max contract worthy, which I know depending on what's going to go on the rest of this season, I know that's going to begin to start being a talk even closer to the trade deadline. Who knows? It might start being a talk, with the outside media, whatever the case may be. But I do think he has had a solid outings, and like I said, he stepped up in times where he's had to. So solid B for me as well. Can't go really wrong with that. Then two more guys I kind of want to hit on. Kind of hit on everybody on the starting five, the bench guys and the veteran guys. We kind of already know what they can and will do. But Clint Capella, like I said, we've talked about it earlier, has had some explosive games, like the 27 and 26. It's ridiculous to me. And I think it was I think it might have been the game after that. He had another solid double, like a 20 and 10 type of night. So Clint Capella, what do you guys think of him and maybe giving him his grade?
I have to be honest. I knew what he did in Houston, but I was never a huge fan of Clint Capella. But when the Hawks traded for him, I just figured he would be a good fit here. But I think he's playing well for the Hawks. He's averaging 14 and 14 right now. He's been a good partner with Trey. I think they got good chemistry together, and he brings something for us a little bit defensively. I didn't love him in Houston, but I like the stability he brings to giving us a real center. Even on those nights when we do play Brooklyn and maybe he can't play in certain moments in those games, I like having him because you'll need him in the long run against Embiid, Jokic, Rudy Gobert. So I like that he's playing strong in the paint. I mean, honestly, his numbers are 13.8 points per game, 14 rebounds a game. Those are huge numbers, honestly. So I give Clint. I'm gonna have to give him an A. I'm gonna give him an A. He's playing through some injuries too, which means he's not, trying to just sit down. He's trying to play this year. I'm gonna have to give him an
A. I'm gonna give him an A too, and just strictly for this reason. Usually, NBA teams don't run these lineups anymore, whereas two natural bigs, then we're actual small forward shooting guard,
right?
And for the Hawks to be able to run a natural 4 and 5, and the offense is still spaced out, the lane doesn't get cluttered, it doesn't slow down. I give Clint Capella an A for long just for being able to adjust and playing that kind of offense and not slowing us down, honestly, and really good on offense because I don't see he's not a real post scoring threat. But there's been times when they throwing the ball down there, a couple dribbles, hook shot here, pivot foot hit, pivot here, there.
Got a few moves in his arsenal.
No, yeah, definitely. So I give him an A just for that, and I think defensively, he's exactly what the Hawks need when he's not when he's not gassed on the court.
Yeah, I think as well. I give it, say solid. Those games still surprise me, honestly. But everybody's been saying within the organization, that's what he can do. And like Fresh said as well, you kind of watched him in Houston, but obviously it was never, the big game. And they never, down the stretch before they traded him, obviously, we can see it was coming. They're going more so to the small ball lineup. So, his knees weren't really of use there anymore. But ever since he's come here and been able to play, like you said, he's been that defensive presence that we need in the paint. He's been active on both ends. He's a big that can run the floor, and that's the most important thing. Especially if we got guys that can, just get out and run. And then, most of the time, or sometimes, especially if he can, Trey's looking to push the ball a little bit. So it's really nice to have, the big that you got, like you guys said, can get up and down the court. Like you said, with the numbers, solid. 14 and 14. Averaging a double. He's been pretty clutch for us, like I said, when he isn't gassed and when he's out on the court. So I think give him a solid A minus as well. Because I don't know, for me, maybe I'm being a little harsh, but I'm like, you can't be no NBA player getting gas. But the way
take me out, coach.
But then again, like I said, understand he's coming off a back-to-back. They played 2 tough games, 2 tough opponents. So giving your all out there and being out there and giving, of course, the schedule, the traveling, because I think I forgot where they came from, but I think they came from up north or something like that before they had to play them again or play Brooklyn again down here. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm probably just being a little too hard, but I'm like, bro, you can't be gas. I need you in at the end of the fourth. If we need you in the fourth, you gotta buckle up. You gotta do something. You gotta figure it out. Dig deep. Get back out there. Something. So
I respect that. That's fair.
Yeah, but I'm just messing with him. A little knock, but like I said, he's definitely big for us. Throughout the whole year, and hopefully continues to be when he comes back, and hopefully we can get him, completely healthy, because I think he's having back issues. I think that's what it is. It's either him or Trey. One of them having back issues. But I guess we just talked about the guys, of course. But All-Star voting is here. I keep getting emails from the Hawks. Double vote day. They want me to vote every time it's double vote day. So we already talked about some of the guys, but who do you think is an all-star out of our Hawks? And then we can also go through who you guys think is your all-star starters as well.
Yeah. From the Hawks, definitely Trey. I think if the NBA would add the center back to the ballot, Clint Capella could be an all-star in the East. Seriously. Yeah, I think he can make it. But I think Trey, and then John is gonna get some votes. But Trey, I think he's gonna be a coach's vote. And my East starters, I got KD, Embiid, Jaylen Brown. I have Kyrie Irving.
These are starters?
Yeah,
Jaylen Brown as a starter?
Yeah.
Then you gonna get the fan vote for it?
Yeah. I got Jaylen Brown.
Shout out Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, Metro Atlanta. Kyrie Irving, and then my other wing was Jason Tatum. Yeah,
Celtics
I had Tatum over
starters?
Yeah, Celtics got 2 starters, and
two-time MVP not gonna be a starter?
not this year.
Wow.
He probably is, but he didn't make my
That's crazy.
He said he ain't make freshes. He might be on somebody's top 5.
Somebody's just
I like Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen's averaging 27 a game right
Nah,
yeah.
I feel. I didn't think just coming from, of course, like I say, it's the Jaylen Brown fan club over here. I just enough fan votes to be a starter, because I don't still see Jaylen Brown as a household name, honestly. But as far as Hawks All-Stars go, I think we might get 2. I didn't think about Capella earlier when I was thinking about it.
14 to 14 All-Star numbers.
Yeah, as a big man in the East. I mean, I'm pretty sure I think it's supposed to go back East-West this year. Yeah. So if it's just, East-West, after Embiid, KD as a front court player,
it's open.
It is open. It's open for him, honestly. He can be a coach's pick, especially, you pick up maybe 5-6 more wins before the All-Star break, kind of really, break off some of those wins from, separate wins and losses a bit. Coaches could definitely vote him in. John Collins, I don't think this is his year, because I don't think he had the leap that a lot of people was expecting him to have, especially with, wanting that max contract.
Yeah. Because technically his numbers are a little because he was 21 and 10 last year.
What is 20 and 9 this year?
No, he's about 17 and 9.
Well,
so it's a lot more. DeAndre Hunter.
No, yeah, right. It's 17.
One person go from averaging 11 to 17. Somebody's gonna lose. And you add Donovan 13 points in there, and
Capella 14.
I can understand how he lost.
No, definitely.
Exactly.
But Trey, I think Trey is a no-brainer. Yeah. Like I say, he's probably not going to be a starter because of Kyrie. So he'll definitely be our coach's pick. I don't really vote for All-Stars because, I don't vote for popularity contests. But if I had to pick 5 starters right now, no, honestly, I got Trey as a starter. I think he's going to get a start 9 over James Harden, who just got to the East. So it'll probably be Kyrie, Trey, KD. I'm going Giannis because I don't see fans keeping Giannis out as a starter. And then Embiid at the 5.
Trey would be interesting, though, because, he's about to get a signature shoe from Adidas. So this year with Kyrie kind of being out there, which, he still got votes technically last year, we can see how popular Trey really might be. Honestly, the Hawks are winning. He is, the kids like him. Obviously, they like the way he plays. So it'd be interesting to see his popularity. I think his popularity can kind of be solidified if he's the All-Star starter this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. For me, I'm Trey. Obviously, you said gets the nod. The numbers he's putting up, 27 and 9. Guys said household name, get really big favor with the kids nowadays. Obviously they remind him of a younger Steph Curry.
Right.
And just the way he plays, they love it. For me, I guess my start. I guess I'll go with my stars and then explain why. I guess specifically don't think Trey probably will get that start now. But I actually had Jaylen Brown as well. I think I have him on my fantasy team as well. I had to pick him up. You can say he's had a really nice season, him and Tatum. But I have him. I guess in the front court I have him and what else I had in the front court? I can't even think of it right now. I know it wasn't Kyrie. I can't even think at the moment. But I know backcourt I had KD, Giannis, and Embiid as well. Who did I have? Who Fresh? Who did you have your front court? I think we honestly had the same front court.
Kyrie and Jalen.
Kyrie and Jalen.
Kyrie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Kyrie votes.
Now that I can't remember, it might be Trey's spot to take. So I'm gonna go ahead and insert Trey and Jalen in the front, and then like I said, KD, Embiid and Giannis in the back. Being that, like I said, Harden and well, Kyrie could get the nod, but Harden just kind of got over to the East. But yeah, I'm hoping Clint can get that, get the nod, probably that coach's vote, because he definitely probably not gonna get that fan vote. But you can't argue with 14 and 14. I don't care who you are, what team you on, what area you playing in. 14 is solid, especially for you. But even more solid for a center in this day and age. So I think he should definitely get that coach's vote. Unfortunately, with DeAndre being hurt, I don't know how many games he's gonna be sidelined. I think he might have had a real small outside chance, the smallest outside chance. If he was able to, probably play these last few games down the stretch before voting really ramps up.
Get his numbers up.
His numbers up. He ended up. He put up 20. So he looked different around at 19 points per game on a winning team.
Exactly. So, but who knows if he's gonna be able to suit up? And I think they went through maybe more testing yesterday or today. So I haven't heard anything, but hopefully he'll be all right. Like you guys said, John has taken a little bit of a dip, obviously because of the emergence of DeAndre and so many other offensive guys that we added to the squad. So probably not his year. So I definitely see somehow, somewhere, I think 2 Hawks players got to be playing in the All-Star game for sure.
The fact that they can pull off, get about 6-7 games above 500, we can definitely get 2 All-Stars.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Home All-Star game.
Yeah, and I guess before we talk about it, there's been a little bit of news about the All-Star game actually being hosted here, of course, in our hometown in Atlanta. But before that, I want to get you guys' Western Conference starters as well.
I had, because I did the first return votes. I did Steph Curry. I had Luka as a starter. He's averaged almost a triple-double. LeBron. Jokic, obviously, he just won Player of the Month for the West. And Kawhi. Kawhi is, I don't know if it's being talked about.
Great season.
He's having an MVP season. He's 40-90, 25 a game. He could be Defensive Player of the Year. He's having an MVP. Clippers have the best record, second best record in the league.
Now,
So I got Kawhi. And I know some people wondered, I saw should it be Anthony Davis, but his numbers are kind of down. I think he's averaging like 20 points per game, 21 a game.
He said himself that he sucks right now. So
right, yeah, and part of that's been on purpose. Even Frank Vogel said, they was trying to get the new people comfortable, and that this time of year they was planning on ramping it up for him offensively. But so I got Kawhi, LeBron, Jokic, Steph Curry, and Luka. Yeah, I had Luka in there.
Well, All-Star starters, definitely Jokic, LeBron, Steph. Now, as you mentioned, Kawhi, Kawhi definitely in the front court as well. My other backcourt player, I don't know, because it could be Luka, like you say, averaging close to a triple-double. But it could be Dame as well, though. He had 41, that game winner. Paul George is also sneakily having the same season that Kawhi Leonard is having. But I don't know if they'll count him as a front court player or a backcourt player.
I think he's a guard.
He's a guard. Yeah. If CJ McCollum CJ was never going to be a starter.
Right.
But yeah, definitely. Honestly, I think one player that could sneak in to being a starter, depending on how good they get, they keep winning and his name get thrown out there some more. I think Christian Wood could sneak in and be an all-star starter. It's a long shot, but I think he can sneak in there.
Yeah, I actually had him in. I did a little graphic as well, which I was supposed to do on Sunday. But yeah, I actually had Christian Wood that I was gonna vote for. I'm hoping that he'll be a starter. But I just remembered who I couldn't remember who my other backcourt guy was, even though on a losing squad and probably the worst or second worst record in the league. I had to put Bradley Beal back there. He needs it. He needs it. Some type of positivity for this year and this season. I guess that win the other night, Russ hitting that big three, and him hitting the big three first, and then Russ hitting that the other one after the steal. Maybe that turns the tides for them. But yeah, I was like, yeah, Bradley Beal got to get this one. He got snubbed last year too. He just needs some type of positivity.
Definitely.
So that was my other backcourt guy. Sorry, Trey. But my Western Conference starters, like I said, I had Christian Wood just having an amazing season. And I think you said if they continue to win, I think you guys said it the other day that or somebody said it the other day, it kind of feels like Houston's team is just like a sea of outcasts, like misfits, just kind of thrown together because no one really wanted them or thought they were too injured, too frail, whatever the case may be. And they've looked decent so far. Hopefully they continue to grow as the season progresses. But Christian Wood, Jokic, Curry, I threw Lillard in there and James, but like you said, Christian Wood more like he probably won't be that starter. And like you guys are saying, Kawhi is having a hell of a year. Paul George actually having a decent year as well. Like the Clippers have just been quietly having a great year.
Yeah, they've been real quiet this year.
They have to be after last year.
That's what I say. Yep, they got to. They
got to follow the lead of Kawhi. Just go out there and play.
Yeah, so those are my starters. For the Western Conference as well. But the next thing I wanted to kind of do a little bit, just actually before NBA news, kind of look forward or look towards the next, I guess, 3 games the Hawks have to play. They're all home games. They play pretty good, talented teams. Even though the Mavericks are struggling right now, of course they still got Luka. Porzingis just came back and has been playing pretty well. And then they got other veteran solid pieces as well. So looking at the Mavericks, Jazz, who they lost to a few weeks ago, and then the Raptors as well. What do you guys kind of see they need to do to win those 3 games? And I guess the record, do you see them coming out after those 3 battles?
Yeah. I hope they go 2-3 because 2-1. Yeah, excuse me, 2-1 out of the games because of course Utah is up there at the top of the league, so that's gonna be a tough game. You can win or lose that one. Dallas is a very winnable game, even though Dallas is talented. I think the Hawks are better than them this year, so they should pull that win out. And Toronto, we should definitely get a win in that one. Keep the turnovers low, play well on defense, and I think those are the main keys. If we don't turn the ball over, we'll definitely win. If not all 3, 2 other 3. And then you definitely want to go ahead and bounce back against Dallas with a win, because if you lose to Dallas, then potentially lose to Utah. That's 3 straight.
Yeah.
Coming off the loss to the Lakers. So I think we can win 2 out of the 3. We could beat Dallas and Toronto. Utah is going to be the tough one.
Yeah, for sure.
I got the record about the same 2-1. I think we beat Dallas and Toronto. Like I say, limit turnovers, move the ball on offense. I know they're not going to play league leading defense, but at least figure out a way to get stops in all those games. Mm-hmm. In the Utah game, I guess the only, try to limit Rudy Gobert defensiveness as much as possible. I think Clint Capella will do that. Dallas, who's having a hard time hitting shots right now, don't let Luka get rolling.
Right.
And hopefully nobody else gets rolling.
Right.
I don't even know. I haven't really even paid attention to Toronto. I know they haven't been that good this year, which I think most people kind of already figured out. Mm-hmm. But, same thing, good defensive, get stops, move the ball, low turnovers, make the shots as well.
Right.
Same thing. I'm just reading exactly what you guys said. I think they had to get this win against Dallas. It will be a pretty tough test, like I said, with obviously Luka and Porzingis coming back and playing pretty well as well. But I think they can definitely sneak that one in. Hopefully, like I said, DeAndre Hunter's back playing. Clint's healthy, Trey's healthy, all the guys are healthy and able to suit up. Out of the 3, of course, I think Utah would be is going to be a pretty tough one. Hopefully our 8% of fans maybe makes a little bit of noise. Like when we played there, I think we talked about a little bit on Twitter. It looked like a full house. Like I couldn't tell it was COVID in Utah. So hopefully we get a little bit of payback and sneak a win with our, like I said, 8% fans going to the game and making some noise. But I guess in that game, obviously they got to limit turnovers. I think it's it's going to be probably a battle of the inside as well, because Rudy's been playing pretty terrific as well. I don't really have the numbers or averages pulled up, but I know you guys, we've talked about it a few times in the off the ball group message, that Rudy's kind of living up to, I guess, his big contract that he got this offseason a little bit. So just the battle of the boards inside, and then obviously just limiting turnovers, and that's probably every game with the Hawks. They just got to limit the turnovers and capitalize on on the opposite end when they can. So I think we can easily get a 2-1 record out of that. Hopefully so, because like I said, we don't want to go. But then again, hopefully I'm not jinxing it either, because I know last time we was like,
the same thing. We said at least 2-1 because of the two Hornets.
Yep.
Literally the same thing.
They went on an 0-3 run. So hopefully we ain't jinxed them this time. I think for real this time, I think they can easily 2-1 with these next 3 games at home. So
I think it's that we're playing good teams opposed to Charlotte, who
not yet.
We play better against the good.
So
teams.
maybe we should pick them to beat Utah instead of Toronto. Right.
Yeah. Psychology.
Yeah.
But yeah, appreciate you guys, of course, always coming on talking Hawks. Before we get out of here, I, of course, got to get your take on the NBA just as a whole. And I do like a little bit. I want to do 2 segments with you guys. Of course, the first one I do a little bit. It's called like something or nothing. I kind of want to do it about some of the trade rumors or buyouts that we've kind of heard around the league. So the biggest one, the biggest name, of course, every time Washington has a bad game, or we saw it the other day. Well, it was against the Nets where Bradley Beal was kind of just out there. He looked like, I know y'all kind of saw the Twitter video people was putting together. Just go in the corner and stand, go at the top of the key, put his head down. Wasn't rotating on defense, stuff like that. So of course, Bradley Beal has been the hot name, the big name, honestly, for 2 years, about possibly being traded. So do you think it's something or nothing about these trade rumors, and do you think he gets dealt, and if so, where to?
Right. I want to say that it's something, but it's funny. Every time these trades come up, Brad kind of says that he doesn't want to be traded. I was literally reading a story today. I think it was, I'm not sure who it was, through CBS Sports or someone. And the story basically around Brad kind of being upset that people keep putting him in these trade scenarios and that he doesn't want to leave Washington. I think Steven retweeted it earlier. Because a lot of people are saying he's crazy for not wanting to leave.
I think it was.
Right. Yeah. So I get him wanting to.
She also wants everybody to go to Miami too, though, so she doesn't count.
Yeah, exactly.
I get a player trying to be loyal to where you're drafted and stuff like that, but the losing gets heavy, and then at the end of the day, they do have some talent. It's early in the season. Like you say, maybe this win against Brooklyn sparks something. Westbrook can stay healthy, and they could, go on a run. So I'm going to say, I said it. I want to say something. I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to just say it's nothing. I don't think he can trade.
Yeah, I think just because he keeps coming out and saying he doesn't, like, not denying trade rumors, but saying I don't want to be traded.
Right.
I'm going to just say it's just because of that, like. Just because he's saying he doesn't want to be traded.
If he doesn't want to go, Washington isn't going to trade.
No, yeah, definitely. They're going like he signed 2 extensions with him.
Yeah.
So he clearly wants to be. So yeah, I'm gonna say it's nothing.
Yeah, I'm there are three nothings. We'll sweep that one, because just like you said, you're getting upset that he keeps being put in trade rumors. Like you said, that's we don't really see that too often. Like being
maybe
upset.
Some of that bad body language in the game got to do with that, because he already big scoring night for him and another loss. It's coming 3 minutes after the game is over. Yeah, so maybe that has a lot to do with it too, honestly.
Exactly. Yeah, but it was nice to see him smile and embrace Russ after he hit that 3. I think that was a big win. They needed that one for sure, just for the confidence as a whole. Everybody's.
This guy actually likes him now.
Yeah, exactly. So. The next guy I kind of want to talk about, something or nothing trade rumors, Lonzo Ball. A lot of people feel like he still really isn't panning out the way we once thought he would coming out of UCLA. He's having a decent, he had an okay year. He's had some nice games with the Pelicans, but overall, I guess it just really hasn't been that spark they was expecting. So do you think it's something or nothing that he's in the trade rumor mill, and then do you think he goes somewhere, and where if you think he gets traded?
I definitely think it's something. We know what Lonzo kind of brings to the table, but I do think that the Pelicans expected to take another step, and I don't think they're as good as they thought they were going to be. So,
Mhm.
move him and get some assets for him. So, I think somehow he ends up on the Knicks.
From the Knicks,
Yeah, I think the Knicks will make it happen. They're
they
one of
still need a
the
point guard.
yeah, they need a point guard. They're one of the teams that have talked about trying to
Pelicans need
get
a
him.
shooting guard.
So
Mhm.
I can see the Knicks. I've also heard the Bulls, I
I don't
believe,
like that.
as far as where he would go. And then then one was the Warriors. But I think somehow he ends up with the Knicks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's something just because, like I say, he hasn't really panned out. So it's like he first of all he needs another change of scenery. I know it sounds terrible for a player in what his fourth season. I think to say he needs a second change of scenery. I think he ends up with the Warriors because I think the Warriors fit what he does best, and he fits with what the Warriors does best. Outside of he's been a better shooter over the last 2 seasons, but he pushes the ball. He's a big guard defender. He can get Steph the ball, so Steph can play off the ball some. I think he fits well with the Warriors. I know the trade talk, of course, has been him for Kelly Oubre. They're taking JJ Redick out of that, but if I'm the Warriors, I need JJ Redick and Lonzo Ball. You just can't have Minnesota pick.
Yeah.
You can have whoever else, but you can't have Minnesota pick.
I'm not trading Minnesota's pick for Lonzo Ball.
Oh no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Don't even like bring that to the table. It's like, Ball's like, but I need JJ.
I need JJ.
That's what I'm saying. I need it. No, I'm not
Hayes.
saying I'm
I
trading
need them all.
JJ Redick. I just know y'all can give me Lonzo, but you got to throw in JJ Redick too. Like, and you can have anything else, of course, outside of Wiseman, Steph, and that Minnesota pick. With the right third piece, you probably can get Draymond up off me. No, they ain't got enough. They're not even like this money wise either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see the New York thing. I've seen even because I know we talked about before, like the New York fans have been taking over my timeline somehow, some way. I guess it's because of I guess it's because of Chris LeBron, but they be talking about they be wanting Lonzo, so I can see him being up there fan with the Knicks because they do need a point guard. Yeah,
right near the Kennedy. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I also heard the Clippers too.
Yeah, I
forgot about the Clippers.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it gives them just another point guard, give them another guard. I mean, they got they got Pat Bev, and then they got Reggie Jackson. Maybe say just gives them another big guard that can play solid defense. I guess so. Paul and Kawhi don't really have to exert that much energy on that side of the ball. But the Warriors one would be super interesting. I think I would. I don't know. It sounds weird saying I would like that because I don't know. It just does sound. It just sounds weird to me because for that little bit of time I was a little bit of a hater on the Warriors, but I've come around. I like the guys. I like the way they play ball, but it would be weird also because I know everybody remembers when Lonzo was coming out. Papa was
he better than Steph.
Yeah. Exactly, coming at Steph and everything. So it's funny. It come full circle that he's on the team, on the squad with them. So
coming off the bench, backing up Steph. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
If I was the Warriors, I would do it just for that.
Yeah. Just to be paid to get some more.
Just for that, and that'll be the end of LeVar Ball, honestly, because like now your son bench player to a player. You say he was better then.
But you already know he's kind of probably falling off that he's switching over to LaMelo now because that's he's still going to be maybe 2, 3, 4 years from now, starts to emerge and maybe be one of the faces of the league. So he always going to be around trying to say something. We already know that. But the next one is not really a trade one, but a buyout rumor. Andre Drummond, he's been talked about a lot. I think this is the second year also being talked about possibly being a buyout candidate. And I think the team that I guess would be the front runner is the Nets. Obviously, because they lost so much in that trade to get Harden. So, is that something or nothing? And do you think he goes to Brooklyn, or does another team, try to snatch him away?
I think it's definitely something. Him getting bought out, them trading for Jared Allen, shows that Andre Drummond is probably not going to finish the season in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I didn't think that it would be through buyout, thought maybe through trade, but
You don't want to be a 27-year-old buyout.
yeah, but he's on the last year of his deal, so why not? Uh, I do think Brooklyn would be at the top of his list. I don't think he helps their defense, but he'll help them rebound.
Yeah, right. That's still a problem.
Yeah, but Brooklyn needs bigs. Go ahead and bring him on in. Another former All-Star. So why not?
Rebound champion.
He'll definitely help them rebound. So that helps with defense in some kind of way, I guess.
Yeah.
Teams got to miss to get you for you to rebound.
Not different.
So, but if I definitely think it's something though. Jared Allen, his first game there, he was playing closing minutes.
Exactly. So
I think he's there.
Yeah, it's the writing's probably on the wall for him. It's about time and come trade deadline, or like I said, maybe it might come by trade. I heard a little bit about buyout, but they could obviously deal him as well. But last time, what did he get dealt for? A second round and something else, like a player or something like that. I forgot what Detroit. They basically gave him away for free.
It's what a trade for a fact thing.
Basically.
Exactly.
I think it's definitely something. It's just something about Andre Drummond. I didn't realize he was only 27. I thought he was at least 30, 31-ish.
Remember, he was the youngest player in his draft.
He absolutely was. And he's just, I don't know. It's just something weird about him. DeAndre, if he played 10, 15 years ago, he probably would have had at least 2 max contracts by now. But he doesn't open up the court enough for his team, especially with how athletic he is. He doesn't move well for whatever reason, unless it is to get a rebound or a dunk. But he does help Brooklyn, like I say, getting rebounds, not necessarily a rim protector.
That was a big body.
Yeah, I can't really think of any other team that he would help for real. Maybe I guess the Clippers, which they got Serge just so like they really need him.
Well, the Lakers. The Lakers could use the backup big.
They could.
Mark could be the backup.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Lakers could possibly use him. I don't know if the Lakers got the money to make that work.
I mean, but that's where the buyout comes in. You buy me out on 27. I mean, I'm getting about $20 million. I'll take a minimum after my buyout.
A minimum and almost maybe promised a ring for the year.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I think another team that could use him just because of injuries. I think Portland can use. I mean, I think Portland can use anybody at this point.
Boston.
You're right.
Boston.
Forever needing a big, they could definitely use Andre Drummond right now, but he doesn't help them at the rim because of either of them. He's another rebounder. He's a taller Tristan Thompson, in my opinion. A younger, taller Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, loud or something, Brooklyn may be the best fit for him.
Yeah, I see that as well. Like I said, Brooklyn, the main team, but you guys just brought up some teams I wasn't even really thinking about. Like you said, Boston's forever needing a big, so it would be nice to see him there. But like you said, most are just helping with the rebound and maybe not protecting the rim. And it's probably a long shot, but if the Lakers were to get him, because I don't think it was nice. Everybody, I guess in the offseason, Martin going over there, his brother played for them. He was drafted by them, but he traded for his brother. All that kind of like a little bit of storylines.
Right.
Nice vet piece to have, but I think he's just more so like now. I guess a little bit on the decline. He doesn't really help them too much at the rim defensively.
He's a little good.
Yeah, he is still a good passer.
I would say good, solid passer. He'll get you, say few assists and timely buckets on the offensive end. But they could use maybe another rebound / sort of kind of ish, not really rim protector. So, yeah. Few teams that he could go to, and it'd be interesting to see if he does get bought out or, like Fresh said, to be traded for nickels and dimes again. Let me see.
Right.
All right. But last little segment I want to do before we head out, I call it I want to give a shout out. And I guess for this segment in particular, we can you can give a shout out to either teams or players that are playing just above par, like way better than you were expecting, ahead of the curve, any of that. So any teams or players that you may want to give a shout out to, or honestly, you give a shout out to anybody, anybody you see doing good, NBA off or whatever the case may be.
And I want to give a shout out to Malik Monk for last night. And went 36, made 9 threes, and then it was his first game back from I think injuries. So shout out to Malik Monk because he definitely needed that game. just to help get his career back started again.
Right. And I want to give a shout out to the Philadelphia 76ers. I saw a stat today that made me happy. With the regular starting lineup, they're 11-0. No
Oh
losses.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I think I saw that because of you. Yep.
Yeah. I definitely like to see that stat. So shout out to the 76ers.
Sir, I guess mine. I'm just talking about everybody that I picked up in fantasy that I just needed help. Y'all don't even know my lineup was looking like. Everybody was either somehow, I don't even remember. I drafted Cat somehow first overall. I don't even remember picking him, but it's whatever. He's been out, of course, unfortunately, with everything he's dealing with, COVID, injuries, all that. So I was scrambling to find pieces. And then there was other players I had on my team that were just kept getting their games pushed back because of COVID. So I saw Jordan Clarkson just sitting there as well one day, and I was like, he looked like he putting up solid numbers. And I started actually watching Utah as well. Yeah. So I was like, I can definitely keep him in the starting line. I can keep him on the squad. So shout out to, like I said, he hasn't really had no big game. I don't think he's had the greatest big games as of recent, but I do know he's been a nice little scoring piece, and his averages are shooting up, and he's probably a most improved candidate as well. Probably along with Jeremy Grant, and then maybe DeAndre Hunter. I know we talked about him earlier. But I just wanted to shout him out because he has saved my fantasy teams and got me some wins last few weeks with his scoring. His scoring just outburst. So shout out to him. But again, appreciate you guys, of course, for being on with me, coming on for another episode of Atlanta Hawks Fly Through. Talking all things Hawks and of course the NBA as well. Want to first congratulate you guys, I guess not in person, but virtually. I know I did over Twitter, but you guys, securing show on Dash Radio. So I guess I'll let you guys, let the people know where you can find you, and then also about your new show on Dash Radio.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So you can catch us every Monday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Off the Ball. Not Off the Ball, excuse me. that's team. You can catch us on Nothing But Net through Dash Radio every Monday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And, of course, every Friday morning, 9 a.m. on the Off the Ball Network's Facebook page for the Hoopers Morning Run. And then, of course, anywhere podcasts are available, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. And, you can follow us on Twitter at the Hoopers Pod. And on Instagram,
_Hoopers IG.
Right. So check us out. Check out the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every Monday, Friday, 8 p.m. on Nothing But Net radio through Dash Radio. So shout out to Dash Radio. That's definitely a dope opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Like I said, definitely follow these guys. Keep up with them. They're doing amazing things. And again, appreciate you guys always for coming on, talking ball with me, talking Hawks. Definitely been a pleasure tonight. Everybody, of course, already know to find me on Twitter at WTGMTM Podcast, on Facebook at What the Game Means to Me, and on Instagram at What the Game Means to Me as well. Thanks to everybody at Off the Ball Network for those guys, just being in our corner, helping putting us on the greater heights, and then also just allocating our show to different places as well. So again, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you guys, Fresh and John, for hopping on another episode, and we'll catch you guys soon. Everybody have a good one.
All right. Peace out, man.